How is it going, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you for tuning in to the Angry Dwarf Studios channel. This is going to be the first of our unboxing videos. Now, I do apologize a little bit for the shaky camera. However, the camera is mounted to my head. So you are basically seeing exactly what I'm seeing. Now, what we're going to be opening today is going to be a fat pack for Oath of the Gatewatch, which is the newest Magic the Gathering set. Now, for those of you who have been kind of following either other pop culture pursuits or not really familiar with it, Magic the Gathering is the oldest of the trading card games. It's been around for 22 years now. Now, I myself have been playing it actually for that long of a time. And of course, this is the Fat Pack. The Fat Pack system was brought out several years ago. And essentially what it is that it's 9 boosters, and then it's also going to include basic lands. And it's pretty much everything to kind of get you started for deck play. Now, we're going to take a look at the back of the box here. I do apologize for any light glares. I'm going to try and keep those to a minimum. Here are the contents. Of course, you're going to get a player's guide with the encyclopedia, the Oath of the Gatewatch card box, 9 Oath of the Gatewatch booster packs, 84 card basic land pack, a spin down life counter, and 2 deck boxes. Now, as you can see, I have one already here that I have opened, but you're going to get to see one brand new being opened right here, right now. So, in order to get this going, we're going to go ahead and open this up. Let's see here now. Unfortunately, I got this at a big box store. And then this one here that I opened earlier, I got at a local hobby shop. Now, the hobby shop I got this at was at RIW Hobbies in Livonia, Michigan. They are located on Middle Belt Road and 5 Mile Road. You can actually check them out online. I believe their website is riwhobbies.com. They got all kinds of great stuff that you can get there. Wolfong isn't the biggest fan himself, but I, on the other hand, do like that store. I've always had a good experience with them. And, of course, they are in a new location as their old location burned down not too long ago here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this opened. Now, the reason why I pointed out that this is at a big box store is if you look here in the video, you can actually kind of see, and again, I do apologize for the light quality behind me and the glare. That'll cut down once I get this plastic off here. But if you look kind of closely here, you can see just a little bit where whoever was unloading the case here got a little bit careless with their box cutter. So this is going to be a lot easier to open. So we're going to go ahead and start off by peeling the wrapping off this. It's not going to take too terribly long. Now, the thing about the fat packs that I always find to be pretty awesome are the fact that the entire thing, with the exception of the cellophane, actually ends up being useful, and I'll show you why. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's slide the deck box out. Of course, here we're going to have our little RFID anti-theft tags, a little bit of cardboard here, but we'll get back to this guy in a minute because this is where all the goodies are. But what I wanted to show you, and I'm feeling on the back here, and this is not cut open, so it's just scratched on the outside of it. First things first, here is the Oath of the Gatewatch Player's Guide. The Player's Guides are actually pretty cool. Now, as you can see, they're actually punched, so you can pop them into a binder if you want. The reason why these are cool is because it is literally a guide to every card in the set. It gives you a little bit of a backstory as far as what is in this expansion, because each expansion of Magic the Gathering has its own storyline. Thankfully, they've kept up with that during the history of the game. But it also tells you now, too, of some new stuff. Now, one of the new things with this set is the colorless mana symbol. We finally have a colorless mana symbol, and I'll show it to you here in a little bit because it is going to be on some of the cards. It looks kind of just like a diamond, kind of in a box there. I don't know if you can actually focus on that. Probably not. Although I am recording in high definition, but that little symbol right there. But I'll show it to you larger on one of the cards. But actually, there's a pretty good picture of it. This is the waists, and that diamond-looking shape right here, where my thumb is. If you can kind of get a closer look at that. That right there is the actual symbol. So here, let me actually see if I can zoom in a little bit. Now I got a good look at it. See, right there. Right there. That is your colorless mana symbol. Now, when I first opened this up, I had no idea what in the hell I was looking at. But then I kind of put two and two together, and I realized, oh, hey, wait a minute. So, you're going to get your whole card encyclopedia and all that. So that's kind of cool. The books are great. These are very handy. Plus, they're also great to keep as well, too, if you can. Now, I myself have just kind of gotten back into Magic the Gathering. The last Fat Pack that I purchased outside of a core set, which the current and final core set, from what I understand, is going to be Magic Origins, which is already out by the time of this video. The last Fat Pack that I got before then was the Return to Ravnica, so that gives you an idea. And as you can see in here, there's some artwork inside. Well, let's just go ahead and peel this open. Of course, this is using like a rubber cement sort of stickum. Keep that closed down. And this whole cardboard thing here is actually really nice. Kind of like a little poster. And of course, it's got the Oath of the Gatewatch, and it's got Nissa on it, which is pretty cool. I like the artwork in the game now too. It's come a long way from the days when I started back in 1994. All right, so here we have the actual box itself. Of course, got the ever so awesome Magic the Gathering symbol on top. Here on the ends, we have the Oath of the Gatewatch. And of course, we have Nissa and all that stuff kind of on here as well. This little symbol here is kind of the Magic the Gathering symbol for the most part, at least for this block. So let's go ahead and open this up. All right. So here we have two more cardboard dividers just to kind of help make the Fat Pack as tall as it needs to be. These are no longer of use, so we'll set those aside. Now, here's what we got. First things first, deck boxes. The deck boxes are pretty nice. Here's what they look like fully constructed. This one actually has cards in it. The card boxes are nice. This is what we used to always have our decks in back in the day before the advent, really, of card sleeves, or as some of us old-timers have referred to them as card condoms. I personally, I don't play Magic unless I have my deck sleeved. But for like a sealed event, or for like a tournament or something like that, you can actually still keep your decks in there if you're going into a sealed event. So that's what these are. Kind of nice. But here's the main event. Oh, nice! Very cool. Very cool. All right, cool. So in the Fat Pack I got earlier today, I actually got the red spin down counter, which of course the symbol that you can see there, that is the 20 life symbol. It's actually the expansion symbol for the Oath of the Gatewatch. And here we have a white one. That's pretty cool. Alright, so let's go ahead and just kind of tear the plastic off that. Let's get this guy out of here. Of course, you got your 20 life indicator, which is pretty cool. Now, of course, it's designed as a D20, which is fantastic. The only downside is that every once in a great while, if you order, say, from like Chessex or whatnot, and you order a thing called the pound of dice, every once in a great while you'll get a 20-point life counter in there. Be careful with those. They are not a proper D20, so do not, under any circumstances, put these in your Dungeons & Dragons bag. Definitely not worth it at that point. Okay, so let's go ahead and take the cellophane off this. And this is going to be your initial 5 packs here. Got here, yep, 5 packs. And this little guy here is an actual rules reference card. These are pretty cool too because they give you a basic idea as to what you've got going in the game. And I'll show you what these guys look like. And of course these also have a little bit of stickum on them just to keep them shut. And what you'll see on these cards is you're going to see your stuff on here such as your parts of a turn. And they actually explain your beginning phase, your main phase, combat phase, etc., etc. And it gives you an idea as to the, setup and all that stuff. The other side of this here helps explain casting spells, basic land, mana symbols, all that good stuff. So, very cool. These are actually handy. You'll find not only these rules reference cards in the fat packs, but you'll also find them in the Deck Builders Toolkits. And I'll be doing an unboxing of the Deck Builders Toolkit potentially in the next couple of weeks here. It all kind of depends really on when I get around to it. The current Deck Builders Toolkits that I will be opening would be a Magic the Gathering Origins Deck Builder Toolkit. All right, so here, this little deck here that you're going to see, that is your pile of basic land. Now, here's the reason why it's so cool. And one of the main reasons why I like the fat packs for the quote-unquote expansion sets is the fact that you get the all-over lands. I love these. Keeping in mind that I come from an era of Magic the Gathering where when we first started playing it, there was no such thing as a tap symbol. But at that same token, we also, we're used to some really bland-looking resources. So, back in the day, when Portal was released, now the thing with Portal is that it was a starter set, essentially, with simplified rules that were done in such a way so that you could teach someone else how to play Magic the Gathering, or you can learn it, and then you can move up to the main game. So here we've got 4 more packs of boosters, and then here we have our basic lands here in a deck. Now, the Portal set came out, and instead of actually having it say, tap to add 1 mana, or, the tap symbol to add and then a mana symbol on there. Instead, what they did is the Portal lands actually looked a lot like the modern lands. And here I'll grab a, let's see here, I'll see if I actually have a mountain on hand in some of these cards that I've been sorting. Let's see here, I've got some lands here. Alright, so actually let me grab a swamp here. Okay, so this swamp that you see here, this is the more modern design here as far as the card borders and all that stuff and the art. But the Portal set actually had it set. They eliminated the tap symbol from the land. All you had really on there was just the mana symbol or whatnot. And one of the reasons why this was so cool is because the Portal set also had black borders, so you actually had the ability to get black bordered land with just this style of text box on it, which is really cool. Back in 1997, when we first saw that, like 1997, 1998, and of course there was a set called Unglued, which was released in 1999. And what it was a joke set, but the lands were actually designed to be a lot closer to what these are. And they looked great. You know, they had the tap symbol on them and everything like that, but they had much cooler looking art. Now, let's go ahead and open this up. Now, of course, all of these are going to be, separated somewhat. So you're going to have your island, your swamp. Here's your mountain. The mountains look pretty cool. I like the forests, too. Now, someone once asked me, there's a plains, there's a different island. Now, somebody once asked me not too long ago, why do the lands look different for the same set for the different land cards? Well, there's a reason for that. A lot of your lands, when they're depicted, they have anywhere from 2 to sometimes up to 4 different illustrations on them. One of the reasons why is because the cards tell the story of that particular cycle. They tell the story of that particular expansion. And part of the way that it does it is that it shows it visually, and it gives you an idea as to what the worlds look like through how their lands are painted. And that's the thing, too. Originally, these were all paintings. Nowadays, of course, they're all digital art, but they were just paintings beforehand. Now, probably wondering, hey, Dwarf, are you going to go through all of these lands? Well, no, I'm not. But what I am going to do is that I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you the new lands, because originally in Classic Magic the Gathering there were really only 5 lands to begin with. Okay, now I'll give you an idea. I'll show you here on the tabletop. All right, so you had your islands, you had your swamps, you had your mountains, you had your forests, and you had your plains. Pretty basic. You had your black, blue, green, red, and white. Okay, again, black, blue, green, red, and white. And of course, colorless mana you could pull from anywhere, because it didn't matter what color mana you were using. If you were, say, casting an artifact or something like that, or using abilities, that it didn't matter what color mana you were using. Well, recently we got these. This card here is called Wastes. What these are, and if you look at the illustrations, they give you an idea as to what they were. The Wastes are actually old lands. They've been used up. They don't create any sort of colored resource anymore. These guys here are the first basic lands to actually give you colorless mana specifically. And the great thing is that Wastes, because they're considered basic lands, mean that you can have more than 4 in your deck. And because they also count as basic lands, if you play Commander format, that also means you can have as many of these as you want in your Commander deck. Now, for the most part, the land breakdown in a lot of these boxes end up being 14 of your initial basic lands, and usually about 18 to 20 wastes, depending. I want to say it was actually like 14 all the way around when I first unpacked the first one, but the reason why I say that you can get more is because you'll actually get some lands in your booster packs. It's not guaranteed in all of them, but you pretty much will. You'll pretty much get at least a colored basic land out of there, and then you might get some wastes out of them too. When I did my fat pack from earlier, this guy here, I got, I want to say, at least 20 wastes out of it. So, and I'm not even going to begin to pretend. My whole idea of doing an unboxing video for this came after I opened the initial fat pack earlier today and realized, wow, I really like these lands. I've got some old school decks, but these lands would look great in them. Now I need a fat pack because I want to make sure I get a bunch of these lands. Plus, you're spending anywhere from $40 to $45. And that, of course, too, is going to be the difference between your hobby shops at times and your big box stores. At the hobby shop, I only paid $40 for the fat pack. At a big box store, I paid $45. $5 difference, not too big of a deal, really, as far as, is it really an issue? Is it not? Essentially, you get less bonuses when you pay more for it because, you're actually getting a little more bang for your buck, even though it's only a $5 difference. But hey, $5 is $5. And for Magic players, that can be a make or break because that could be the difference between, getting enough ramen to make you live through the week, or at least getting another booster pack and hopefully pulling like a Jace or something like that if you're getting like an Origins pack or something along those lines. All right, so enough of the sidebar. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into these 9 packs. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to necessarily go through every card in every pack. That would take too long. We're already at 21 minutes on this video. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the mains. And what I mean by the mains is that I'm going to go through, I'm going to show you the uncommons first, then the rares. The commons is, if they're an interesting common, I'll read a little bit about it because there is some good stuff in here. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's start off and let's get this pack opened. And let's see what we can find. Now you're going to notice too, I'm not very ginger when I open these. Because, well, it's cardboard crack. I got to get to what I got. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do, alright, we got our token, we got our Eldrazi Scion. Cool thing about the Eldrazi token creatures, you sacrifice them, get a colorless mana to your mana pool. So they're kind of like thralls that give you a little extra gift. There we go, we got a basic land. Alright, and then of course we're going to see a rares or uncommons. First, let's go through this first one, kind of go through some comes here. We got a Consuming Sinkhole, Searing Light, Negate, nice that it's making its comeback there. Nice thing about Negate is that it's counter magic. So if you play blue at all, it's good. Let's see, Vines of the Recluse. Target creature gets +1/+2 and gains reach until end of turn. And then untap it. That's pretty sweet. Let's see here. Zolaport Chain Mage. Alright. Warden of I'm sorry, I do apologize. My Geometries. Oh, it's an Eldrazi drone. Very cool. It's an Eldrazi. It's a 2/3. Tap to add a colorless mana to mana pool, and it has Vigilance, which is great. It means it doesn't tap to attack. Gotta like that. Let's see, your Isolation Zone, Tar Snare, Reality Hemorrhage. Okay, this is one of the ones that I wanted to show you. If you look at your Consuming Sinkhole here in the Reality Hemorrhage, you'll notice that they have actual colored mana symbols on them as far as using them. And I know it's going to be a little bit blurry, and I apologize. That's a red mana symbol, so you need red mana to cast it. But it has a feature called Devoid. And what Devoid is that your card basically, it's colorless. It has a color identity as far as like how you cast it. But, pardon me, I just got to scratch my forehead. You have a color identity based on what based on what it would be to cast it, but you don't have a color identity when it comes to once it's in play, or things that would normally affect it. So kind of cool there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump right to the uncommons. We have a Grip of the Royal, Surge, 1 and a blue. The way it works is you may cast this spell for its surge cost if you or a teammate has cast another spell this turn, which is great that they're starting to factor in, they're starting to really factor in team play, which is great. The card reads, of course, tap target creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. And then draw a card, so it's got a cantrip on it. Very cool. Embodiment of Fury. It's an elemental with trample. It's a 4-cast, 3 colorless and a red for a 4/3. Land creatures you control have trample. And what that means is that's got landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may have target land you control become a 3/3 elemental creature with haste until end of turn. It still counts as a land, but again, land creatures you control have trample. Very cool. Havoc Sower. This guy's black, but it's devoid. 1 out of colorless. Havoc Sower gets +2/+1 until end of turn. So basically, it's got its own built-in unholy strength, and you can continue to pump mana into it. But remember, you actually have to use a wastes for it because it has the proper colorless mana symbol. So you have your generic mana now and proper colorless. And what's our rare? Mina and Den Wildborn. Very awesome. Good for a commander deck, actually, too. And the way this goes is that you may play an additional land on each of your turns. For a red and a green, return a land you control to its owner's hand. Target creature gains trample until end of turn. And of course, because you can play an additional land, you can literally pull a land up, and then you can drop another land. Here's the reason why I dig this. I got 2 of these guys out of packs earlier. So I really like the commander format, but I'm also down for playing red and green as a nice color combination when I'm doing a 60 card game. So that's nice. That is very nice. I like that. And of course I did pull a wastes out of that pack. So I'm going to put that with the basic land. All that. Common's of course going to go here to one side. Uncommon's going to go there. This is going to be kind of like a very basic way of me sorting. All right. Here we go. Now we're going to take a look at this guy here. All right. So we're going to see if we got a token. No. We got ourselves just an advertisement card. Begin battling the Eldrazi. All right. Cool. By the way, one thing you need to realize about these cards, great if you need to do proxies and if you play sleeved play. Very good. We got an island as a basic land. I know I'm kind of like jumping in a little bit here. All right. Okay, cool. So here we've got our commons. Interest Interference, Occam Planesseeker, Searing Light, Unnatural Endurance, another Vines of the Recluse, very cool. Jawara Isle Avenger, cool. Warden of the Geometries, which is really funny that I couldn't remember how to say that earlier. But everybody should keep in mind, I do play hockey and I do get hit in the head a lot. Another Reality Hemorrhage, very cool. Decent commons. All right, so let's go to our uncommons here. Chitinous Cloak. Some people say chitin, but it's actually pronounced chitin, surprisingly. Nice piece of equipment. And it reads, equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has Menace, which of course Menace means that it can't be blocked unless it's being blocked by 2 or more creatures. Equip cost of 3, casting cost of 3. Not bad. That's actually pretty useful. Pyromancer's Assault. This is a 4-cast enchantment. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, Pyromancer's Assault deals 2 damage to target creature or player. That has Burn Deck written all over it, honestly. Here we go. An actual colorless card. Warping Wall. It is an instant. All right, so choose one. Exile target creature with power or toughness of 1 or less. Counter target sorcery spell. Or put a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion creature token onto the battlefield. And it has the sacrifice this creature, add a colorless mana to your mana pool. Not bad. Let's see what we got as our rare. A Dread Defiler. Black and 6 generic to cast. It counts as devoid. 3 and a colorless. Exile a creature card from your graveyard. Target opponent loses life equal to the exiled card's power. Plus, he's a 6/8 to begin with. That, so what I'm looking for, hurts. That could do some serious damage. Not bad in a sealed environment or in a draft environment. That could be a difference maker. Do we get a token? Oh yes, we get an elemental token. Very cool. Plains is a basic land. Alright, so let's see here. Comparative analysis, Eldrazi Aggressor, Dazzling Reflection, Lead by Example, Corpse Churn, Natural State, destroy target artifact or enchantment with converted mana cost of 3 or less. That's not bad for 1 green. Stalking Drone, Expedition Raptor, Birds, Reality Hemorrhage. That one is a common. Oh, here we go. Here's a common land, Crumbling Vestige. Crumbling Vestige enters the battlefield tapped. When Crumbling Vestige enters the battlefield, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, and then tap it to add a colorless mana to your mana pool. So, not bad. Really good if you're making an Eldrazi, or if you're making a really more along the lines if you're doing like an old school artifact deck where you don't really need, you know, anything special to it, but say you don't want to dig into your planes or everything like that. So that's not too bad. But it is a common. Let's take a look at our uncommons. We've got an uncommon land. Timber Gorge enters the battlefield tapped. Not bad. Tap it, add a red or a green to your mana pool. Very cool. I love multicolor lands, dual lands, stuff like that. Love them. Underground Sea for the win. And for about $240 a piece. Oh my god. It's so expensive. Let's see here. Flare Drone. It's an Eldrazi drone. It is devoid. It has first strike. It's a 3/1 for a generic black and a red. Not bad. Whenever another colorless creature enters the battlefield under your control, target opponent loses 1 life. That is just nasty. Stoneforge Acolyte. It's a core artificer ally. Has the cohort mechanic, which is tap an untapped ally you control. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an equipment card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. For a 1/2 single cast white critter, not bad. And what is our rare? Ooh, a rare land. I haven't seen this one yet. Corrupted Crossroads. Tap to add a colorless mana to your mana pool. Or tap, pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast a spell with Devoid. So not bad. For the long haul, it's not going to be the biggest thing. But in standard tournament play, that'll actually be pretty hot when the Oath of the Gatewatch becomes part of the tournament structure. So pretty good. Very situational, though, so it's not going to be something that you're going to see hardly ever once it rolls into vintage play. But if you're building a Devoid deck, that's actually not bad. Alright, so we've got, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 packs, so this is going to be the 3rd pack opening. No, sorry, 4th pack opening. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, yep. 5 more to go after this, and these are going to be coming at you a bit quicker. Alright, so first things first. Is this a token? It is a token. It's a plant token. A 0/1 plant token. Big green, shiny because it's wax-coated token. Okay, let's see here. We got some Merfolk. Not bad. Sky Scourger. Loam Larva, Witness to the End. Not bad. Here we go. Holdout Settlement. Tap to add a colorless to your mana pool. Or tap and then tap an untapped creature you control. Add a mana of any color to your mana pool. If you got tokens, this is pretty hot. And, of course, it's a common, so it's a nice, alternative mana source there. Okay, let's go ahead and let's jump to the uncommons. Prophet of Distortion. Let's see, of course, this is Devoid. It's an Eldrazi drone as well. 3 and a colorless, draw a card. Let's see here. That's pretty much it. Just 3 and a colorless, draw a card. That's handy. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. That's actually handy. What else we got here? Relentless Hunter. Human Warrior. Let's see. Pay Well, let's see. Well, it's casting for a generic, a red, and a green. It's a 3/3, so a 3 caster for 3, not bad. And then, of course, when you repay its casting cost, it gets +1/+1 and gains trample. So you can, if you got enough mana, you can continue pumping that guy up. So it's pretty good. Oh yeah, we got our basic force here. See, we got a Bella Pup. It has trample as long as it has a +1/+1 counter on it. Not bad. Here we go. Endbringer. It's an Eldrazi. Untap Endbringer during each other player's untap step. Okay. Tap and does 1 damage to target creature or player. Pay a colorless and a tap, and creatures can't attack or block this turn. And 2 colorless and tap, draw a card. That's pretty good. Not necessarily game breaking, but pretty good. I'd use it. Who am I kidding? I probably will use it. Alright, let's see what we got here. Okay, we got Eldrazi Scion token. We have another swamp. Very cool. Alright, let's see here. What we're going to do now is we're just going to start skipping the commons. Again, unless I see something really awesome. But not likely. Alright, let's see what we got here. We got a Relief Captain. Let's see. When it enters the battlefield, gets support 3. That's put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 3 other target creatures. Not bad. Void Shatter, 1 and 2 blue, but it's devoid. Counter target spell. If that spell is countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into its owner's graveyard. Not bad. Baloth Null, or Baloth Null, Zombie Beast. 4 generic, then a black and a green. It's a 4/5. When it enters the battlefield, return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. That's pretty handy. And what we got here, Fall of the Titans. I got one of these earlier. It's kind of cool. It's got a surge cost. Normal cost is X generic, and then red. The surge cost is X generic and a red. Fall of the Titans deals X damage to each of up to 2 target creatures and or players. It's a fireball with a fork built in. That is pretty damn spiffy and brutal at the same time. Alright, next pack. We're into the home stretch here. We're down to the last 4. So we're more than 50% done. Your source for all things magic, magicthegathering.com. It's a true story. A plant token. It's great that the backers never changed. The fact a lot of us old-timers know is that originally the Arabian Nights expansion, which is the first Magic the Gathering expansion, was going to have a different back to it. This classic backer here was originally going to be kind of a pinkish color for the Arabian Nights expansion, but it was decided that that would actually be too easy to figure out what cards were from what expansion, so it provided for cheating. So since 1994, when the game launched, all the cards have the same backers, which is kind of cool. Alright, we're going to go through the commons and just get those out of the way. Nice, another holdout settlement. Pretty cool. Alright, so what do we got here? Cliffhaven Vampire. Alright, Cliffhaven Vampire, flying whenever you gain life, each opponent loses a life. And he doesn't even need to do damage to do that. It's pretty awesome. That's a 2 generic, a black and a white for a 2/4 flyer that basically has a combination lifelink and a pestilence on it. Yep, I would use it. It's a jerk face card, but I like it. It's all about me. Just saying, we got another Relentless Hunter. We went over that guy earlier. Void Shatter. It's counter spell. So we saw that before. Let's see here. Matter Reshaper. It's of course an Eldrazi. When Matter Reshaper dies, reveal the top card of your library. You may put that card onto the battlefield if it is a permanent card, with a converted mana cost of 3 or less. Otherwise, put that card into your hand. That's helpful. I actually got one of those earlier in my other packs. So not bad. Alright, let's see what we got here. Oh my god! Eldrazi Scion token! So game breaking. Island. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and go through these here. Unknown Shores. Well, that's a common I haven't seen. Tap to add a generic, not bad. 1 untap, add 1 of any color. Gotta like that. And it's a generic in a tap, too. It's not specifically having to tap a wastes or anything for it. Alright, let's see here. Come on, man. Get to the uncommons. Alright, what do we got here? Immolating Glare. Destroy target attacking creature for 1 generic and a white. Yeah, because that's what white needs, is more creature control. Storm Chaser Mage. Blue and red. Good color combination. Has flying and haste, and then has prowess. Now, prowess is a mechanic that says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So if you're casting a lot of stuff, like a lot of counters, a lot of direct damage, things like that, sorceries or whatever, enchantments, this critter just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Warping Wall. Oh, we saw that one earlier. Oh, here we go, Mr. Mythic Legendary Creature. Mythic Rare. This guy here is Kalitas, Trader of Get. Is a mono black legend, which makes it valid to be used in Commander. Because any legendary creature is valid for Commander, but this one could be good. And it's a 2 generic, 2 black for a 3/4 with lifelink. So that means whatever damage he does, you gain that much in life. It says here, if a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile that card and put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. Okay. 2 and a black, sacrifice another vampire or zombie. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on Kalitas, Trader of Gat. That's actually pretty good for a sacrifice deck. Especially if you're using stuff like breeding pits or whatnot. Well, maybe not so much breeding pits, but anything that'll generate zombies, anything that'll generate vampires. Which there's a lot of zombie creatures, a lot of vampire creatures, stuff like that that are out there, so pretty good. All right, we are down to the final 2 packs. Now, this expansion is actually so new that we don't know what the real chase cards are yet. What the real big money cards are going to be. I got here zombie. Going to planes. All right, let's go ahead and see Sky Scourger. Okay. Bonesaw, very cool piece of equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+0. 0 cast to put it into play, and equip cast of 1. Very awesome. So you could equip a critter with that on turn 2 if you happen to get it in your opening hand. Okay, let's see here. Alright, so we got Strider Harness, which is an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has haste, and it has an equip cost of only 1. Caster of 3, but not bad. Another Baloth Null. Immobilizer Eldrazi. I've not seen this one yet. Let's see here. 1 and a red. It's devoid. 2 and a colorless. Each creature with toughness greater than its power can't block this turn. That's pretty cool. And we got an Eldrazi Displacer. That'll be the rare. This guy is devoid. 2 and a white to cast him. 2 and a colorless, exile another target creature. Then return it to the battlefield, tapped under its owner's control. This is fun for a bounce deck. Final pack. All right, let's see what we got here. So far, the fat pack hasn't been too bad. There's a lot of useful stuff in here. A lot of it seems to be pretty much just for the block that it's in, but still not bad. I got an Ancient Crab. That's a game breaker right there. Just saying. Just saying. All right, let's find out what our token is. We got another Eldrazi Scion token. Forest. Gotta make sure we don't have any basic lands in there. We got wastes. All right, so let's see what we got here uncommons wise. We got a Harvester Troll. When Harvester Troll enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature or land. If you do, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Harvester Troll. Not bad. Let's see here. Walker of the Wastes. It's an Eldrazi. 4/4 trample, 4 generic, and a colorless. Walker of the Wastes gets +1/+1 for each land you control named Wastes. Ouch! That's a hurt. That's a hurtin'. Let's see, we got here a Vampire Shaman ally. Let's see. Malakir Soothsayer. 4 generic and a black. Cohort. Tap, and then tap an untapped ally you control. You draw a card, and you lose 1 life. Well, not the best for me, but... Goblin Dark Dwellers. Hey, it's a goblin with menace. When Goblin Dark Dwellers enters the battlefield, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with a converted mana cost of 3 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that card will be put into your graveyard this turn, exile it instead. So it's kind of like an auto flashback. And of course, menace means that it can't be blocked by less than 2 creatures, I believe. So, alright, not too bad. Alright, so all in all, pretty solid unboxing, I think. Again, the highlights for me, of course, are going to be a couple of the rares. Not too bad there. The all-over print lands, big fan. There's some decent comments and everything in there, and I'm actually kind of jazzed that I got 2 different color spin down counters, so not too bad. So basically, we're gonna see how all this plays out when I test all this stuff. But until then, if you have any suggestions as far as any other Magic sets or any other unboxings that you would like to see, or if by any chance there happens to be any questions or anything like that about Magic the Gathering, or any other discussions that you want to bring up about any other games or anything, you can hit me up at rantragepod@gmail.com. You can visit us on Twitter, which is rantragepod on Twitter, so it's at rantragepod. Or you can actually track me down directly on my own personal Twitter, which is going to be under The Angry Dwarf. And don't forget to like and subscribe on our Angry Dwarf Studios YouTube page. And of course, again, it's 2016. We got some big changes coming. We are going to potentially have a brand new website and everything up too. But a lot of stuff going on in the background here at Angry Dwarf Studios. So we look forward to seeing you guys again. And holy cow, it's a 50-minute video. Glad you guys all hung in there. And remember, don't you just hate it when somebody says remember and then they don't tell you anything after that? I hate that too. Alright guys, take care, enjoy, and we will hopefully catch you guys around the game table.